Hey guys, welcome back. Oh gosh, it is a sleepy, rainy day here in Tyler, Texas today. I can't even tell you. Like, I'm in the studio, and not only do I one of these days, like I said, I'm going to show you naked Steve in the corner, the mannequin that's naked, but there's like the sound of light rain hitting the tin roof, and it is just, and I know you can't hear it, but I can. So I left the house with Danny had a fire going this morning, and gosh, it was. Listen, this morning was nuts balls, like crazy town. So I'm going to tell you a little embarrassing story about myself really quick before I get into what we're talking about today. But so I left. I woke up this morning. I walked on the treadmill. I worked out. It was shoulder day. And I decided that I wanted to do something nice for our vet. They're just really great people, and they take really great care of our animals. And so I called Chick-fil-A, and I was going to have a chicken mini like breakfast tray made for them and take it to the office. So I got to Chick-fil-A, and I went through the drive-thru, and it's pouring down rain. It's freezing cold. So two of the things, I don't like driving in the rain, as y'all know, and I can't stand the cold. So I'm out in this, and I get the nuggets. I drive through the drive-thru. I get the order, and I look, and it's just nuggets. It's not the chicken minis. So I get it, and I go back in, and they're like, okay, well, we can make them for you, and then we'll give you the rest of them. I'm like, okay. So they made them. I got back in the car, went up to the vet's office, and the two people that I deal with the most at the front desk, Miss Holly's one of them, they weren't there. So it was super anticlimactic to drop off breakfast because, I mean, when you surprise somebody with something, you want to see it light up their face. You want to see them happy and excited. Anyway, and the girl was really sweet that took it. She was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't eat breakfast this morning. Thank you so much." And that was sweet, right? I don't know. I guess I had a different picture in my head of what was going to go down. So that was that. And then I got home, and y'all know I've had like bukus of dental work done, and I'm still having dental work done, and so I have a bridge that has been loose, and I've been kind of like, I don't know, babying it a little bit. And this morning I was eating a chocolate chip cookie that Gage's best friend Destiny made. They're the best chocolate chip cookies on the whole planet. I don't like this girl needs to sell these cookies. They're so good. But they're so fresh and they're a little sticky, so it caught the bridge and just pulled it right off. So then I ended up in the dentist office this morning. I mean, it was just like a disaster from the time that I woke up. And then it was just a disaster. So it's gotten better. Today's gotten better, but this morning was definitely a struggle. So what I want to talk about today is going to be pretty controversial, but I think it's really important. I want to talk about women and men, for that matter, protecting themselves. So when I was growing up, the only time I ever remember being around a gun was when I was 5 years old, and my mom was dating this guy who was like a total drunk. And I remember, well, no, actually, I take that back. My mom had broken up with this guy who was a total drunk. And then there was this other guy that she met. And I guess he had stayed to just kind of protect us because this other guy was on the rampage a little bit. So anyway, 5 years old, I remember I'm in a nightgown. I'm sitting in the middle of the living room at on Terralinga Street. I remember the little duplex that we lived in. And I think this guy's name was David. So I'm sitting in David's lap, and he's holding a gun. And I think that was my first experience ever around a gun. And so The reason he's holding a gun is because the guy that my mom broke up with was outside and he was drunk and he was screaming and he was breaking the windows at our duplex. And so we had to call the police and wait for the police to come. But David was trying to protect me and my mom and my brother. So that's my first experience with a gun. I don't know why my nose is itching like crazy. I think my second experience with a gun was when I was dating Gage's dad. And he had a 22, and we shot some cans, right? No big deal. I think those are the only two experiences in my life with guns. So, and my brother had a BB gun, and he used to like try to shoot me in the backyard. It was horrible. So I grew up uneducated, scared of guns. I had a fear of guns. Like, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we walked across the street to our neighbor's house, and I looked on their entry table, and there was a gun. I was like, there's a gun over there. Like, what if it shoots me, you know? And they're just like, really? You're freaking out about that? I was like, yeah, well, I don't know anything about gun safety. I didn't grow up around them. And Danny had been talking. He's like, I really want to have something in this house to protect us. And he had grown up around guns, but he just didn't have one at the time. And I was like, absolutely not. We're not having guns in this house. There's no way. It's not happening. No, we have kids. There's no guns. And he's like, but we teach them gun safety. So I started handling like Danny's gun. I started getting used to the idea. I started educating myself. I took a safety course. I got my first Glock 43. I like those because, I don't have little hands, but I kind of have, I don't know, I have girl hands. And so these big 9mm, like the Glock 17 and 19 stuff, they don't fit in my hands well. But the Glock 43, really, it fit well. So that was the gun that I chose. And I remember like sitting in the bed, everything unloaded, everything all safety precautions all taken. And we would just sit in the bed and aim at people on the TV. Just to practice, you know. And then we would go out to the range and we would shoot and practice. And I got pretty decent at it. My depth perception is not wonderful. I have had lens replacement in my eyes, so that's kind of something I'm curious to see. I haven't shot since then, and I haven't practiced. But I ended up getting my LTC, which is not needed now in the state of Texas. But I got my LTC. I did really well on the course, and but here's the thing. And I'll tell you why all this was brought up, but y'all, if I'm in a situation and I have to protect myself and shoot someone, I feel really, really sorry for that person because it's not going to be a clean shot. It's going to be like all over. Like it's going to hurt really, really bad. So please, don't ever hunt me down or chase me down or anything because I'm not going to it's not going to be a clean shot. Like Danny can get a clean shot and like, that's it. Me, it's going to get all the way around and everywhere. And I always imagine that if I'm in that situation, you know, Danny says that some of the statistics, you know, you don't even pull the trigger more than once or twice, right? And I could totally see myself in a position where I'm like, I'm empty in it, you know? Just out of fear and trying to stop someone from hurting me. But I can tell you a few of the things that it does for me. I carry all the time. If it's not in my purse, it's on me. Every morning when I go walk, I'm carrying. And I actually have the Glock 43X now. I like it a little bit better. The Glock 43 was a little bit small for my hand, and I had to have the magazine that had like the extender on it to really fit. So when the 43X came out, that was a better fit for me. It's great. And Danny got me tritium night sights because I'm blind as a bat, especially at night. So he got me tritium night sights to put on it. When I walk every morning, we have a huge problem in our neighborhood of people not keeping their dogs on leashes. It is, we have like literally 5 streets in our neighborhood, and I can't tell you how many dogs have like come up on me and scared the crap out of me and like just aggressively barking. There was one time I had to get in one of the neighbors' cars. I was standing there talking to her, and this other lady let her dog out, and her dog's like coming after me, and I'm like, Laura, open your door. Like, I need to get in the back seat of your car. And I ended up having to do that, and like that dog's come after me twice. I don't know. The dog just doesn't like me. I've never done anything to it. But I don't even walk my neighborhood without carrying. One, because there's always workers in the neighborhood. There's always people we don't know, and the dogs. And I'm going to protect myself either way. The last thing I'd ever want to do is hurt an animal. But if I had to protect myself, I would. So I carry for that reason. But I had a friend of mine tell me a story the other day, and she posted it on Facebook, and it happens more than you can ever imagine. Her and her daughter were at Walmart, and they were in the subway at Walmart, and they were just grabbing a bite to eat. They had their groceries. They were just going to grab a little sandwich. And she said she kept noticing these 2 guys that were like standing over in a corner, and they would like look over at her and her daughter, and then they would like text each other. And they kept looking and texting and looking and texting. She's like, it just made me like super uncomfortable. Like something was up, right? So she said she called security. She went over and found someone that's a security guard to walk them out to their car. Well, and I messaged her after I saw that, and I was like, if you would carry and you would take a course or 2 or whatever and learn some safety with this, like you wouldn't have to have a security guard carry you out, or walk you out. You could handle it yourself. And it's about, your confidence. Like when we were in Dallas a couple of weeks ago for Thanksgiving, there's a bunch of homeless. We were downtown Dallas. There's a bunch of homeless people. That is uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not used to being around that. And there's people that walk around Dallas all the time, but some of those people are a little cray-cray, and I was not comfortable. So, I walked with my hand in my purse on my gun, like ready to go if I had to. And Danny always carries too. It's just, I've become educated enough and I'm comfortable enough with a gun because we handle them enough. We take them apart, put them together, and we practice that I'm not scared of it anymore. And I think that was the difference. Like in the beginning, I was scared shitless of them because I didn't understand how they worked, the mechanisms and what made things work inside the gun. And, they can't just shoot you by themselves. And if you drop it, it's not going to go off and, things like that. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. I'm just going to say that. There has to be somebody pulling the trigger, and so I'm okay with protecting myself, but here's the thing that always gets me riled up. Let's say that we're in the grocery store and you're one of those people that you're not an advocate for guns. You want them taken away. And there's a shooter that comes in the store. And I pull out my weapon. You going to get behind me? Are you going to run to the shooter? Are you going to run away? That's the thing, right? You're not comfortable with guns because you're not educated enough about them. You've never really handled them. You don't understand the process. You don't understand what it's about. It's a lot. There's a lot of responsibility in carrying a weapon, in carrying a gun, And that's the thing is if there's a bad guy, you're going to get behind the good guy with the gun. I assure you of that. That's going to be your instinct. And tell me I'm lying. Seriously, in a situation like that, if it's you and your kids, tell me I'm lying that you wouldn't get behind me and let me protect you as a good guy with a gun. And that's the thing that gets me too is you take all the guns away, the bad guys don't give a shit. The bad guys don't care that it's illegal. They do illegal shit all the time. Why would you think they would not have guns? The government sells the guns to the bad guys. I mean, y'all, it's just a horrible perpetual cycle, So I guess my main reason in talking about this is because, ladies, you don't have to be scared. You can be educated. You can carry a weapon to protect yourself. And here, let me say this. I hope to God that I never, ever, ever, ever have to fire my weapon for any reason. I hope I don't ever have to do that. But I at least like having the option. If I need to, I can. And there's a sense of security in that. There's a sense of protection in that. That you don't get because, if you're by yourself in a parking lot walking through Walmart and some dude comes up to you, how are you going to protect yourself? What are you going to do? And these guys that were checking out my friend and her daughter, y'all, do you understand what's happening with human trafficking? Like, are your eyes wide open? Do you realize that it's happening in broad daylight and it's not just little kids, but it's grown women and teenage girls? And it's unbelievable. We were in Vegas a couple of years ago and I was sick to my stomach at the blatant human trafficking that was happening in Vegas. Like, these girls, they're I can't even put words to it. It made me so sick. I don't ever want to go back. And our next conference is in Vegas again. I've heard they've cleaned it up a little bit, but between the human trafficking and the smell of weed in Vegas, I'm out. I'm like, we'll go to this, but we're not leaving the hotel. We can have food delivered, whatever, but I'm not putting myself out there. It's just not safe. Danny has actually started flying when we travel with his weapon, where if we have reciprocity and we can take it with us. That's been a really good thing. And that's what I'm going to start doing as well, because he's like, well, if something happens to me, like, what are you going to do? Right. You got to have some backup, and I don't know. So we're there to protect each other, but I don't know. I guess my thing is, like, why would you be scared of something? Like, we're all scared of the unknown. And I feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse to death, but it's not. I feel so much different when I walk through the mall parking lot, knowing that I'm protected if I need to be protected, especially if my husband's not with me. Now, I do have a bad habit of, if he's with me, and we're just like running somewhere, then I won't take my purse or anything with me. And he hates that. He's like, no, you need to be backed up too. And the thing too is, like, we took our children took these safety courses. Like, our children learned how to shoot. Our children learned gun safety. I'll talk about something else that's controversial, especially with my dad. I think that when it comes to protecting your life, seconds matter. And anybody who has been in a life-threatening situation would understand that those seconds matter. So my dad hates the fact that I keep my gun loaded and chambered. he says, well, in one fell swoop, you should be able to rack your slide and chamber your gun. And he doesn't like the fact that I have a Glock that doesn't have a safety. So you should remember in a scary moment, sorry, Dad, if you ever hear this, but you should remember in a scary moment that you need to rack the slide and flip your safety off before you fire your weapon. Are you freaking kidding me? Stop it. I am never going to remember that when I'm scared shitless. I'm going to pull it out of my purse and I'm going to pull the trigger. That's it. 5 pounds of pressure. I'm going to pull the trigger. That's it. I sound like a maniac. But the thing is, that's seconds. Those are seconds. I'm not going to think about that when I'm scared, when I'm in fear of my life. I'm not going to think about those things, you know? And so some people say like the racking of the slide is the deterrent. No, my bullet is a deterrent. That's the deterrent for that person. I mean, racking the slide, that hearing that, you know, when you're maybe in the middle of the night, if you think there's somebody in your house or whatever, yeah, I mean, that could be a deterrent. But listen, if you're in my house, I'm going to shoot you. That's just all there is to it. If you're facing me, I'm going to shoot you. And I guess the point of that too is if you're racking your slide and they hear it, it gives them the opportunity to retreat. But you shouldn't be in my house anyway. Oh my God. My husband, Danny, had an argument with my dad about that too, about how, you know, racking the slide. He said, okay, think about this. What if you were in an altercation and you're a right-handed shooter and your left arm was broken? How are you going to rack your slide? Well, that's a great question. How are you going to safely rack your slide? You're not. You're just going to pull your weapon and fire. You know, I have friends of mine who have businesses that they actually come into people's homes and they teach women like where the best hiding places are to hide if there's an intruder in your home. They put you through, gosh, I can't think of the word, but like for lack of a better term, play situations, like lifelike situations that, you know, that put you in a position to not be able to have the time to think about it, you know, like you do when you're at the range. I can tell you this, we've been to Top Shot in Longview, and I don't like that place for a couple of reasons. It's really loud, and like I'm there for a weapons training, right? I'm not there for fun. And this is East Texas. And there's these dudes that like to just shoot big guns because it makes them feel like their balls are bigger. I don't know, whatever it is about you dudes. But when we went there the one time, there was this guy shooting this really big, loud gun. And that just made me a nervous wreck. So we're all about going outside to shoot and being in an outdoor range that's really spread out. There's a lot of safety precautions with that too. So I like being outside better than inside, but I wish there was an indoor range in Tyler that was just, I don't know, just a little bit bigger. It'd be nice. But that's the thing. Like, I guess the whole point of this is, ladies, protect yourselves. Go take a class, go get educated, go get a gun, stop depending on a security guard at Walmart to walk you out to your car, because guess what? He probably doesn't even have a gun either, you know? And if those people set their sights on you and they really want to take you, like the traffickers, they will take you. And I don't know if any of you know this, but like Tyler's like right smack dab in the middle of Houston and Dallas. So Tyler's a huge hub for human trafficking. Huge. And I know this because I have a friend of mine on my team that actually works for the state of Texas in the human trafficking department. So scary stuff. You girls, ladies, men, protect yourselves. And if you're scared of guns or you think they're scary, go get an education on them. Go teach yourself. Talking about this makes me want to like go home and take mine apart and put it back together and just practice. The more you handle it, the more comfortable you get with it, right? That's the thing. And if Facebook wouldn't ban me, I would totally pull mine out, set it right here, and take it apart for you to see how unscary it is, okay? And y'all, I'm telling you that when I first started this, I would tremble with fear of that gun. But not anymore. I feel secure. I feel confident that if something were to happen, I could protect myself and my family. And that's what it boils down to. You got to be able to protect yourself. Don't let them take our guns away. I don't know if you see what's happening in Australia right now, but it's pretty scary, and I've got some friends there. That's terrible. It's terrible. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm sure I've pissed some people off. And the thing is, we don't have to have the same opinions. It's okay for me to have my own opinion. It's okay for you to have your own opinion. It's okay for us to disagree, but we don't have to be hateful to each other about it. So, my thing is, if you don't really have anything nice to say, just scroll past it. Just don't say anything at all. The world would be a better place if we would all figure out how to love each other rather than hate each other. We're talking about that the other day with the kids at the jail. What would this place be like? What would this world be like if there was peace and love? I wouldn't even have to have protection for myself. But it's not the case. There's a lot of evil in this world, and there's a lot of bad people, and there's a lot of people that don't care, and there's a lot of mental health issues in this country, and it's scary. It's really scary. So remember that people kill people. Guns don't kill people. And there are, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many the number that Danny told me, but there's like, I don't know, 100 million people that have guns that have never hurt anybody with theirs in comparison to the few of that number that have. So just keep that in mind, okay? You do you, I'll do me, and we just figure out how to live in harmony, okay? Anyway, happy Monday to you guys. I will see you next week. Merry Christmas to everyone as well. I'm excited. Everything's wrapped. Everything's done. Like 8 days before Christmas, I was done. And so that's a wrap. Haha, did you get that? Anyway, peace out, homies. Appreciate you. And you can shout out to Kimber Creek Media for the studio time. I appreciate you guys very much. You can find Allison Unfiltered on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of it. Check it out. Thanks for following me. And guys, please be sure to like and share if you love what you're hearing, okay? Talk to you soon. Peace out. Bye.